Hey folks, Nev here with One Deal Away, and I hope you're doing splendidly. As you can see, I'm spending a little bit of time working or walking or actually combining both. So about a month ago, maybe a little bit more, I had done a special video that I had posted on my YouTube channel. I have done it for the folks in the group on different pages where I talked a little bit about what's happening in the market and the effect that it's going to have on real estate. And by that point, nobody was really talking about it, but now I am seeing all kinds of videos popping up talking about the challenges with mortgages and the impact on real estate. It's something that I have been slightly ahead of curve. So, and that's not really to kind of go and say, yay me, but really, yay me. But it wasn't, something that I have psychic abilities. It was just looking at what's happening and making a conclusion of this is a more likely than not scenario, right? Super simple to notice. So what's been happening with mortgages is something that I have been expecting to happen with mortgages, y'all. And, that's kind of where we are. So if you have been watching the news and kind of following some of the different channels and what people are talking about, you will notice that there is a conversation about mortgages kind of slowing down. The rates are kind of going up. And they're fluctuating. So some of the rates originally have gone up, which is what most people are talking about, but they have dropped and they will continue to drop in a little while. So something to watch out for. Now, I'm not going to go into the details as to why, as a lot of it has to do with the supply and demand and the guarantees from the government. So yes, they have been governmenting, but the government has been doling out cash to just about everybody and anybody, guaranteeing all kinds of things. And the reason they're honestly doing that is so that they can keep things going, because things are starting to freeze up. Now, the reason that mortgages are being worried is, as I have mentioned in some of the videos and conversations with some of my students, is because people are getting let go of from jobs, which nobody was really thinking about the impact, but that does have an impact when it comes down to lending. So that's part number one. Part number two is that prices of beautiful homes like the one behind me are going to be going down. And the reason for that is because there's going to be still a lot of sellers, but the buyers are going to be fewer. And the reason for that is because most people are not having a whole lot of money. They are losing jobs, and more people are going to be selling. And that's not even accounting for all of the short sales and foreclosures that are going to be coming our way, because people cannot afford to pay their mortgages. And yes, I know they can go into a forbearance, but if you watch the previous videos that I've done about that, that basically means that they have to come up with a lump sum at the end of that forbearance, which most people can't do. Look, if you can't afford to pay $1,000 a month, how are you going to be able to pay $40,000 in the near future, or $10,000, or even $5,000? You're not. So that's basically forbearance, unless they restructure stuff, which some of them are talking about, but most of them are not, is going to be problematic. The ability to get a loan, so the lending criteria, so to say, has been getting quite a bit stricter. And so Chase, for example, came out and said, we're going to focus on current customers only. What that basically means is we're not lending, okay? That's what basically means. And for a handful of people that they will do loans for, they are looking for at least 20% down. So that's that very conventional loan where you have to come up with 20% of cash and then finance 80%. Now, another thing that they are doing, and a lot of the banks and lenders are doing, is that they are going to go into a day of closing that they're going to verify employment. So what happens is that, say today is my closing day on a particular property, they're going to go in and they're going to call my boss and say, does Nev still work here? And if the answer is yes, they're going to transfer money so I can close on my deal. If the answer ends up being no, like he's been let go or he's been furloughed, whatever, then they end up denying that loan the last second. So that's kind of how that process works. But here's some good news. One of the good news is that the rates have been dropping, okay? So that's the beautiful piece. The second piece is that if you're going to be going into making some of the purchases, acquiring properties, because we all know that you go to purchase when prices are lower. The problem is that most of us can't go in, is that we don't have enough money. And so now if we're put in the perspective of the lenders not lending and having stricter requirements like 20% down, that means that you're going to have to pony up way more cash. The reason they do that is because they're expecting the prices to drop, so they want to protect themselves, because the down payment is the riskiest component when it comes to the loan. Why is that? So on average, homes, when they drop in value, they will drop in value 10, 15, 20%. Even during the Great Depression, on average, properties have dropped about 30%. So that's the reason why they're increasing the down payment. Now, in New York City, during the Depression, the property prices have actually dropped down as much as 65 to 67%, y'all. That's the reason is because it's a highly cyclical market, meaning the prices are much more volatile, going up and down. So if we ever come to the process or time where and when the prices drop down in highly cyclical markets, perhaps it's a good time to buy. But that's not today. That hasn't happened yet. So if that's what you want, that means you're going to have to practice some patience. If, however, you are deciding that perhaps you wish to make the purchase, you wish to invest your money today because you don't want to wait, and you found a great deal, here are a couple of things to keep in mind. You want to look for off-market properties that are deeply discounted. When I say deeply discounted, you want to look for a discount of at least 25 to 35%. The deeper the discount, the lower the risk to you, the greatest potential you have for making profit with your investment, okay? So that's number one piece to keep in mind. Now, to be able to do that, you need to know how to evaluate properties, find out what the assessed value is, find out what the market value is, and find out, obviously, what your price is going to be. And those are likely going to be three very different numbers, and you want them to be different. You obviously want your price to be 20 to 30% lower than the market price, and preferably lower than the assessed value, okay? So that's one of the things that you want to keep in mind. Now, the second piece, which is even a better piece in my personal opinion, is when we're looking for the properties to be down in value, you want to know how to start purchasing some of the properties that typically are listed for 80 to 90% or more at discount over the value. So how does that work? Well, you have a house, for example, that is market value, say $150,000. Assessed value is, say, $100,000, but your purchase price is, say, $20,000. That is a great deal. And I know what you're about to say. Nev, that doesn't exist. I looked all over Zillow. It's not there. That's right. It's not there, and it's not going to be on Zillow. It's not going to be on Realtor or Redfin or Trulia or whatever Main Street site that you have heard of. There are specialized auction houses that actually auction these properties, that provide them up for sale. And the cool piece is that demand has dropped, meaning there are less buyers going out there to make these deals. And that means that your ability to make great profit potentially, and I'm saying potentially because it just depends what you buy, where you buy, how much you pay, and so on, but it goes actually up. Because here's the thing, competition is great when you are a seller and you have, say, 20 different buyers, and you go out there and you kind of let them bid the price up. When you're the buyer, you obviously want less competition so that you have ability to drive those prices down, not up. So now is the part where we're seeing a bit of a shift in what's happening in the off marketplace, where properties are being sold off market. And off market basically means that your realtor is not going to know about it. Your realtor is not going to be able to find you that place or sell you that place or help you with buying that place. And Zillow is not going to list it. That's what off market means. It means that it's not an MLS. It is found through either private deals, like, for example, if I was to have a house that I wanted to sell and I reach out to you as my community because I happen to know you, and I say, hey, I have an XYZ house. This is the price that I want. Here's the address, blah, 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 blah. That would be an off-market deal. That's that private person-to-person kind of off-market deal. The second one comes through these auction sites, auction places where you can go out and bid on the properties, and typically it bids on up, right? Because competition tends to be kind of high. What I have noticed is that many of these have been canceled, and many of the investors are sort of sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what ends up happening. So there's less competition, meaning that the price that is listed more often than not means is the price that you pay. And that is amazing when you start thinking that some of these deals are being sold for a fraction. When I say fraction, I mean like 1% to maybe 5% of the assessed value. So those are the key things to remember and keep in mind. And when you're able to do that kind of stuff, that means that you are able to actually make money the moment that you buy. That is the power of value investing, and that is the power of knowledge. So that is something that I have shared with my students all over the place. And the power with doing these things is that it doesn't matter what happens with the marketplace. It can drop 10, 20, 50, 60, 80, sometimes even 95%, and my protection is still in place because I have bought so well under the market value, under the price, okay? So that's sort of the key component here. Now, here is where mortgage kind of comes in really handy if you start thinking about it. Say, for example, that I am able to find that 150 market value house or 100,000 assessed value for $20,000, and I purchase it, and you won't be able to finance it, so you have to buy it cash. But let's say I buy it cash, right? Then I can go in and refinance, and the bank is potentially not going to give me 100%, which you don't want anyways, but they will likely give me 20%, 30%, 50% even, right? Because it protects them as well. Now, if I buy a $100,000 assessed value property for $20,000 and I finance it, say, for 50%, that means that I pull out $50,000. So what that means is that I am able to get $50,000 back for a purchase of $20,000. I have a property valued at $100,000. That now, of course, I have that mortgage of $50,000 that I have to pay off, but I have pulled my cash out, meaning that I am risking absolutely nothing. No money is being risked. Now, this is the power of purchasing deals of what I like to call real estate on the cheap. And the reason I call it that is because, well, it really is real estate on the cheap. And I've actually even created a challenge where I'm teaching people who are just like you, interested to figure out how do I get into this whole game in real estate and be able to make money. If this is of interest to you, I invite you to check out realestateonthecheapchallenge.com website, where you can learn a little bit more about what the program is, what the cost is, and I think you will be pleasantly surprised to see what the value is with this whole thing, as opposed to the super small, tiny investment that you have to make. And the reason that I actually even charge for it is because, even with the low price that I've been charging, vast majority of people are not doing the work. Shocking, I know. So I tried giving it for free. That didn't work. Nobody was doing any work. I charged a little bit. People did a little bit. I charged a little bit more. People did a little bit more. So the price will actually be going up over the next couple of weeks. So if you are interested in learning how to actually find these deals, where to find them, how to evaluate them, and how to run through this whole process of being able to find these properties and actually make money in this crisis as opposed to lose money like vast majority of people, I invite you to join in. And do it right now, because as I said, prices will go up in a couple of weeks, and so I'd hate for you to pay more. We're actually going to double the prices, believe it or not. So I'd hate for you to pay more if you don't have to. And all you have to do is take action right now. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, if you've gotten anything out of it, please do share it with your friends, associates, family members, your dog and your cat if they want to watch it. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, please, because it does help with the algorithms pushing these videos to more people. Do subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you get notified when new information comes your way, because I will be bringing jewels to you, so to speak, over the upcoming days, weeks, months, and hopefully years if we all survive this, including the internet. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay forever money blessed. And do remember, you are only one deal away.